My hands were sweating a little as I held the pregnancy test. The smell of disinfectant in the ultrasound room mixed with the perfume of the other pregnant women, which made me feel a little sick. Next, Melissa. The nurse's voice made me stop thinking about everything. I took a deep breath and walked into the ultrasound room. The doctor who examined me was a young woman. She had gentle eyebrows and eyes and a soft voice which made me feel relaxed. Her name was Phyllis and her name was written on her name tag. "Don't be nervous, just relax," Phyllis said softly as she adjusted the equipment. I tried to force a smile and lay on the examination table, feeling the cold liquid slide across my lower abdomen. "The baby is healthy and developing well," Phyllis said with a smile as she looked at the screen. My heart finally let go and I couldn't help but smile. That moment Phyllis's phone rang. She glanced at the screen and her face instantly blossomed into an even sweeter smile. "Honey." She answered the phone, her voice even softer. "Yes, I'm at work. I'm not tired. I love you, hugs and kisses." I overheard her say this and I felt a strange feeling in my heart. The person on the other end of the phone seemed to have said something and Phyllis's smile deepened. She scolded, "Oh, don't be silly. I'm at work. Let's talk about it when I get home tonight." "Well, I love you, honey." "Honey?" I felt my heart sink. Phyllis hung up the phone, turned her head and saw that I was a little lost in thought. She asked, concerned, "What's wrong? Are you not feeling well?" No. I quickly hid my emotions. Just then Phyllis's phone screen lit up for a moment and I inadvertently glanced at her screensaver. It was a wedding photo and the man in the photo was my husband, Jack. My brain went buzz and went blank. I felt like I had been struck by lightning and I was frozen in place. Your phone's screensaver," I said, my voice trembling, pointing at her phone. Phyllis looked where I was pointing and a flash of panic crossed her face, but she quickly regained her composure. "Oh, this?" She smiled, looking a little embarrassed. "It's my husband." "Your husband? Is that Jack?" I asked, my heart hurting. Phyllis nodded, her eyes flickered. "How long have you been married?" I felt my voice shaking. 5 years, Phyllis answered. 5 years. I felt like I was spinning. I had been married to Jack for 6 years and our adopted son Lauren was already 5 years old. But he had been married to this woman for 5 years. "You have any children?" I asked, almost gritting my teeth. "We have a son, he's 3 years old," Phyllis said with a hint of pride in her voice. 3 years old. My heart sank. Jack had always said that he wanted a child, but I had never been able to get pregnant because of my health. We adopted Lauren, and although he said he didn't care, I knew that deep down he had always longed for a child of his own. So it turns out he had a child of his own with another woman. I felt like an idiot kept in the dark for so many years. I tried to control my emotions and look calm. "Dr. Lin, you and your husband are very close," I said, trying to sound natural. Phyllis smiled and said, "Yes, we are very close. But..." She paused as if she had something hard to say. "But what?" I asked. "But we haven't gotten married," Phyllis said softly. "His family has never approved of us being together." "Not married?" I sneered inwardly. "Jack, you're something else." "Why not?" I asked. Phyllis hesitated for a moment, then said, "His family thinks I'm not good enough for him." I looked at her and suddenly felt a little ridiculous. A kind doctor is not good enough for a dishonest man. I didn't ask any more because I already knew everything I wanted to know. I got up from the examination table, straightened my clothes and said to Phyllis, "Thank you, Dr. Lin." "You're welcome," Phyllis smiled. "Remember to come back for a follow-up examination." I nodded and left the ultrasound room. As I stepped out of the hospital, I stood in the sunlight, but I didn't feel warm. I took out my phone and dialed Jack's number. "Hello, honey, what's up?" Jack's voice sounded gentle. "Jack, let's get a divorce," I said calmly. There was silence on the other end of the line for a few seconds and then Jack's panicked voice came through. "Honey, what are you talking about? Why do you want a divorce? Did I do something wrong?" "You haven't done anything wrong, but I just don't think we're right for each other," I said coldly. "I already know about your affair." "Honey, let me explain," Jack said anxiously. "No need to explain," I interrupted him. "Phyllis, City Center Hospital obstetrician and gynecologist. Is that enough?" There was silence on the other end of the line again. I hung up the phone feeling as if I had unloaded a heavy burden. I don't know how I got home, but I felt weak as if all my strength had been sucked out of me. I lay on the bed looking at the ceiling, tears streaming down my face. 6 years of marriage had come to an end. I thought I would be miserable and devastated, but unexpectedly I felt a sense of relief. Maybe our marriage had been dead in the water for a long time, but I didn't want to accept that. I don't know how long it was before the doorbell rang. I ignored it and continued to lie in bed. The doorbell kept ringing, getting more and more urgent. I finally got up and opened the door. Standing outside was Jack. He looked haggard with red eyes as if he had been crying. "Honey, you opened the door. Can you just listen to my explanation?" I really didn't mean to. As soon as he saw me, he threw his arms around me. I pushed him away and looked at him coldly. "Jack, how long are you going to keep up this act?" "Honey, I'm not acting. I really love you. I was just confused for a moment. I promise I'll never do it again," he pleaded. "Confused?" I sneered. "You were with Phyllis for 5 years and have a 3-year-old son together, and you call that being confused?" Jack's face instantly turned pale. "Honey, He stuttered and couldn't find the words. "You don't need to say any more," I interrupted him. "I've already made up my mind. We're getting a divorce." "No, honey, I can't live without you. I really love you. Please don't leave me." He hugged me again and begged with tears in his eyes. I felt nothing but disgust. "Jack, let go of me." I struggled hard. Just then a woman's voice came from downstairs. "Don't you? What are you doing up there?" It was Phyllis. Jack's body stiffened and his face became even more unpleasant. I sneered, pushed him hard, and walked downstairs. Phyllis stood downstairs and saw me, a flash of surprise crossing her face. "Why are you here?" she asked. I didn't answer her but looked at Jack instead. "Jack, didn't you say you loved me? Then tell her who I am." Jack stood on the stairs, his face turning from green to white, his lips trembling and unable to speak. "Don't you? Who is she?" Phyllis asked suspiciously. "She's just a crazy woman. I don't know her," Jack said, taking a deep breath. At that moment I felt my heart shatter completely. I looked at him as if I were looking at a stranger. Phyllis was also stunned. She looked at me and then at Jack as if she understood something. "Jack, you..." She trembled as if she couldn't believe her ears. I didn't look at them again and turned around and left. Behind me I heard Phyllis crying and Jack's excuses, but I no longer cared. I only knew that my world had completely collapsed. I walked aimlessly down the street, not knowing where to go. My phone rang. It was my best friend Nicole. "Melissa, where are you? Something terrible has happened." Nicole's voice sounded anxious. "What is it?" I asked, my voice weak. "You have to look at Twitter. That scumbag Jack, Nicole's voice was a little choked up. I opened Twitter and saw the latest update from Jack. It was a photo of him and Phyllis with the caption, "5 years and finally I've got you. Wife, I love you." In the photo they were smiling sweetly. My heart died completely. It turned out that he had already made his choice a long time ago. I closed Twitter and deleted all contact with Jack. From now on he and I would have no more relationship. I stood on the street watching the crowds come and go and suddenly felt like a joke. A big joke. I deleted Jack and also deleted my ridiculous past. On the screen of my phone Nicole's messages popped up one after the other. I didn't open them and I just called her. "Melissa, you finally answered the phone. Are you okay?" "That son of a bitch, Jack." Nicole's voice was about to explode. "I'm fine, Nicole. Find me a lawyer. I want a divorce." My voice was surprisingly calm. "Divorce? We must divorce. Do we want to keep this kind of scumbag around for the Qingming festival?" "Don't worry, I'll take care of the lawyer. I know a great lawyer who specializes in divorce cases and will make sure Jack gets nothing." Nicole was indignant. "Wait." I paused and added, "and find me a place to live. I want to move out." "No problem. Where are you now?" "I'll come and get you." I gave her the address and hung up. It wasn't long before Nicole arrived in a hurry. When she saw me, she hugged me lovingly and said, "Melissa, you've suffered. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have let you marry that man." I patted her back and said, "It's okay, it's all in the past." Nicole took me to the hotel she had booked in advance. After settling me in, she rushed off to contact a lawyer. I was alone in the room looking out the window with 1,000 thoughts racing through my mind. Suddenly my phone rang again from a number I didn't recognize. Hello. I answered. You're Jack's wife, right? A shrill female voice came from the other end of the line. It was Phyllis. I didn't say anything. Why are you silent? Are you feeling guilty? Let me tell you, Jack and I truly love each other and you are the shameless mistress. Phyllis's voice was full of provocation. I just felt extremely ridiculous. Do all mistresses speak so confidently these days? Miss Lynn, have you misunderstood the word mistress? Jack and I have been married for 6 years and you have been with him for 5. Who is the mistress? I asked coldly. So what? Don't she loves me? He's been wanting a divorce from you for a long time. Phyllis screamed. Really? Then why didn't he tell me earlier? Why did he lie to me? That's because. Phyllis seemed to be at a loss for words and stammered. At that moment I heard a man's voice on the other end of the line, presumably Jack. Phyllis, who are you talking to? It's that crazy wife of yours. She. Before Phyllis could finish her sentence, the phone was hung up. I let out a sneer. It seems that they have started to turn on each other. I ignored all this and turned on my phone to search for information about divorce law. I had to fight for my own best interests and not let those two scumbags off the hook. The next day Nicole brought a lawyer with her and we discussed the details of the divorce agreement. The lawyer said that because Jack had cheated on me during the marriage and had a child out of wedlock, I could ask for a divorce and fight for custody of Lauren. Hearing this, I finally felt a little comforted. Lauren was adopted by me, but over the years I have always loved him as if he were my own son. I must not let Lauren fall into Jack's hands. A few days later I received a summons from the court. Jack had filed for divorce because he couldn't wait to be with Phyllis. On the day of the trial I saw Jack and Phyllis. Jack looked tired while Phyllis looked happy. In court Jack turned the tables and made himself out to be the victim. He said that I had always suspected him of cheating and had mentally abused him. He said that he could no longer stand it and had filed for divorce. I looked at him coldly and thought it was ridiculous. Jack, do you have any shame? I challenged him in court. You've been with Phyllis for 5 years and you have a 3-year-old child. You still have the nerve to say that I'm mentally abusing you. Jack's face turned white. Silence. The judge banged his gavel. Plaintiff, please provide evidence. Jack's lawyer presented a pile of evidence, but it was all unsubstantiated. My lawyer, on the other hand, presented intimate photos of Jack and Phyllis as well as Phyllis's son's birth certificate, which were all irrefutable evidence. Jack's face turned pale. The judge asked Jack, "Defendant, what do you have to say?" Jack lowered his head and didn't say anything. Since the defendant has nothing to say, the court will now sentence her. Just then Phyllis suddenly rushed up, pointed at me and yelled, "You bitch. It's all your fault. Why did you destroy our relationship? You shameless little mistress." Everyone around us was stunned and looked at us. Who are you calling a little mistress? I looked at her coldly. I'm talking about you. You seduced someone else's husband. You deserve to die. Phyllis's insults got worse and worse. I couldn't hold back anymore, so I rushed up to her and slapped her hard. Pat. It was a loud and clear sound. Phyllis was stunned, covering her face and looking at me in disbelief. How dare you hit me? She screamed and pounced on me to hit me. Jack quickly pulled her back, but Phyllis wouldn't give up and kept trying to hit me. In the chaos, Phyllis suddenly pushed me. I was caught off guard and fell backwards, my stomach hitting the corner of the table hard. I felt a sharp pain spread and I felt something drain from my body. Ah! I screamed and fell to the ground. Jack and Phyllis were both stunned. Everyone was shocked and someone shouted, "She's bleeding." Jack stood there looking at the blood spreading beneath me. His face was pale but his eyes showed no compassion, only indifference. I lay on the cold floor feeling my life slipping away. I was taken to the hospital and woke up the next day. Nicole was by my bedside, her eyes red and puffy, obviously having cried. "Melissa, you're awake? How do you feel?" Nicole asked, concerned. The baby. I asked, barely able to speak. Tears flowed down Nicole's face. "I'm sorry, Melissa, the baby couldn't be saved." My heart felt completely broken. I lay in bed, tears falling down my face. At that moment the ward door opened and Phyllis walked in. "What are you doing here?" Nicole glared at her. Phyllis ignored Nicole and looked at me smirking coldly. So? It doesn't feel good, does it? You brought this on yourself. Who told you to seduce someone else's husband? This is your retribution. I looked at her and in a rage grabbed a vase and smashed it at her. Get out. I hissed. The vase fell to the floor, shattering into pieces. Phyllis, startled, took a few steps back. But she was relentless, saying, "Do you think you can scare me like this? I'm telling you, Dong, she will never get back together with you. You'll just end up alone." With that, she turned around and left the hospital room. I lay in bed, my heart heavy. A few days later, I was discharged from the hospital. Instead of going home, I went straight to the law firm. I want to change the divorce agreement, I told the lawyer. I want Jack to get nothing, not even a penny. The lawyer nodded and started drafting a new divorce agreement. I wanted Jack and Phyllis to pay for what they had done. A few days after I was discharged from the hospital, Jack actually came to my door. He was holding Lauren and he was smiling, but I could tell he wasn't being honest. He said, "Melissa, I know I was wrong. Let's get back together for Lauren's sake and for the sake of our past relationship." Lauren looked at me and whispered, "Mom." I looked at Lauren and I felt sad. She was innocent, but I really couldn't forgive Jack. I said to him, "Jack, don't use Lauren as a shield. You and Phyllis did those things and you know it in your heart." Jack saw that I was firm in my attitude and became a bit anxious. "Melissa, I know you hate me, but Lauren can't do without a father. Can you bear to let the child grow up in a single-parent family?" I sneered. "What's wrong with a single-parent family? It's better than growing up in a chaotic environment like yours." "Jack, don't give me that. I'm telling you, I'm definitely getting a divorce." Jack saw that he couldn't get what he wanted by being nice, so he started to get tough. "If you dare to divorce me, I'll fight you for Lauren's custody. Don't forget, Lauren is adopted by me." "Dream on," I yelled. "Lauren was raised by me. What makes you think you can compete with me?" We were yelling at each other and Lauren was crying. I hugged her and told Jack to leave. I said, "Go away. I don't want to see you again." Jack left. A few days later, my lawyer told me that Jack had agreed to a divorce but wanted to keep some of our things. I thought that was silly. "Tell him he's got to give up everything or we'll go to court," I said without hesitation. The lawyer told Jack what I said. Jack probably thought about it and finally agreed to give up everything. Just as Jack and I were going through the divorce procedures, Phyllis suddenly appeared. She fell to her knees in front of me, crying and begging for forgiveness. "Melissa, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have destroyed your family. Please forgive me." I looked at her and felt ridiculous. "Phyllis, you know you were wrong when you called me a homewrecker. Why didn't you think that would happen to you?" Phyllis cried even more. "I was blinded by greed at the time. I really know I was wrong. Please let me off the hook." "Let you off the hook? You made me lose my child. How can I let you off the hook?" I replied coldly. "Don't worry, I won't let you off the hook. I'll make you pay." Phyllis saw that I was determined and knew that there was no hope of begging for mercy, so she decided to give up and throw in the towel. She went live on the internet and tearfully accused me of destroying her relationship and forcing Jack to divorce me, portraying herself as an innocent victim. For a while there was a barrage of abuse online and I was thrust into the spotlight. I read the unsightly comments and trembled with anger. I never imagined that Phyllis would stoop so low. I didn't just sit there and wait for my death. I started fighting back online, telling the whole story of the feud between Jack, Phyllis and me, and posting evidence of Jack's infidelity. Netizens then realized that this was actually what had happened. Public opinion began to turn and Phyllis became the target of everyone's anger. I took advantage of the situation and went straight to the police, suing Phyllis for intentional injury and slander. In the end, the court found Phyllis guilty of intentional injury and defamation and sentenced her to 10 years in prison. Jack was also sentenced to 3 years for harboring and defamation. On the day of the verdict, Phyllis broke down in tears in court while Jack looked deathly pale. I stood in the gallery watching them and felt not the slightest sense of pleasure, only endless sadness. Even more absurd things happened. As the police escorted them out of the courtroom, Jack suddenly broke free and choked Phyllis until she was blue in the face. "It's all your fault, you bitch. You've ruined me. I'll take you down with me," Jack yelled furiously. Phyllis struggled desperately, but in the end she was strangled to death by Jack. Jack then committed suicide as well. It was a sad ending to a farce. After dealing with the mess, I went to pick up Lauren. Holding Lauren in my arms, I vowed to take good care of her and give her a happy home. I inherited my parents' company and became a rich woman. A new chapter in my life had finally begun.